from a shamanic perspective is a new question answer thing I'm going to start doing. So if you have a question about anything, if you want to have a shamanic perspective on it, send it to me. Today's thing is thinking about why is it when some practitioners offer a healing modality or something of an experience, it doesn't always work. Or why is it that sometimes you're around someone who isn't even a healer, quote, quote, just a normal everyday person, and yet they alters your whole world? Well, that's because we have our human body and our logic mind. We need structure and understanding in order to explain what we're doing. And that's where our human teachers come in. We are able to make sense of all this amazing energetic and spiritual stuff. And we can then say, this, and this is how you hold space, deliver this, support people in this kind of experience. And we support each other. And we're also a container for that frequency of that modality or of that version of love and truth from the divine. Meaning we've done the inner work in ourselves to open our little space for divine energy to flow through us. We've done the inner work to slowly open that up. And so our aperture and our attunement to that energy frequency is much bigger. And so we are then able to offer attunements and activations because it's flowing through us into the student. But that's not because we're gatekeeping or because we own it. We don't. And that then gets to the answer of why do some people sell something, but then they don't sell? You know what I mean? Offer something, but then it doesn't do anything. Well, that's because either their aperture isn't really open or because the divine essence or deity or frequency that is that medicine frequency, and that frequency is going to be of love, divine creator love or divine creator truth, universal love, universal truth, right? That frequency is the medicine. And if this person isn't doing the inner work or isn't properly aligning with the expectations of, if you're going to be doing this work, you have to do X, Y, and Z and be upholding it in this integral, ethical way, deliver it in such and such, whatever. Yeah, there are expectations from the divine to do this work ethically. And if we are not in our ethical integrity, if we are not doing the inner work, and if we are not actually attuning with that frequency, it's not going to flow through us into the person. So if someone is like, oh, I'm a this, and this, well, maybe, and if they're not really attuned and aligned, then it's just not going to flow. In the same way that spirit is basically the gatekeeper and the flow maker of this frequency. I mean, it's available to everyone, right? I'm not trying to say like you have to be a specific person. We're just not all called to it, to do this kind of work. In the same vein, there might be someone who's never done any apprenticeship or any healing modality training or anything like that. But they've done the inner work and they've walked the path with spirit on their own time and in their own way, that their aperture is opened up and they are so aligned with the divine that they just flow and emanate this energy. And they don't even know, they don't call it anything. They don't even know it's a thing. It's just who they are. And it's just how they are. And they don't realize there's ever like a permission, there was nothing like that. There's no structure. There's no human power or structure or literature that they explain it with. It's just who I am. And that's because that flow is coming through them. The divine wasn't like, hey, Steve, do you want, with your lucky charms this morning, would you like an attunement? No, they're not doing that because you're just pure of heart and you're pure in alignment and in connection. And so it just flows through. So that's why some people might be more in flow and they just emanate that flow without ever having done a formal class. So when it comes to feeling into these things, follow your intuition. If you want to work with someone, work with them. Regardless of what they say, they may or may not do. I mean, of course, the human side of teaching is so important because there's a lot around ego, power, ethics, somatic releases that are inappropriateness. There's a lot we need to be aware of on a human level and in understanding and making sense of what's happening on an energetic and spiritual level. We need our human teachers and we need our human practitioners. However, we human people who are doing the work can't do it without doing the work ourselves and without Spirit backing us, because we're not the holders of this frequency. Spirit is. They just flow through us. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat here, drop a DM, or go to my website, marthamw.com, and you can send me a thing there. I'm happy to anonymously share your question and then answer it here.